One of my favourite films many years ago was a film called Ghostbusters. It was one of those films where a group of guys would go off and fight ghosts. The thing I liked most of all, I suppose, was the slogan, "Who you going to call? Call Ghostbusters." Well, there's a guy who's got a similar sort of a call, I suppose. Who you going to call? The Lord of the Rings, the guy who searches and finds for rings. His name is Justin Millman, and he's on the line. Justin, welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you doing?
Justin, you're the Lord of the Rings, according to an article in the magazine called, That's Life. And you're the guy who goes out and finds lost treasure. How long have you been doing this?
Probably about 5 years now. Always had a metal detector kind of in the family. Dad had one when I was a little kid, and we used to go out and look for lost artifacts together over in the UK, and he used to dive wreck. So it's always kind of been in the family, and so I thought I'd a bit of a hobby about 5 years ago. Started doing the beaches and parks and even underwater, and kept finding kind of ring after ring. It was amazing how many we found in the end, and yes, it kind of started like that, and I'm still going strong today.
So you found all these rings. Initially, did you find the owners connected to these rings, or did you just build up a collection?
Well, initially it was just finding them in the sand and under the water, and didn't know how to contact the original owners. Some of them had been in there for years, I think, and I used to put advertisements on the Gumtree website and certain lifesavers, but I just built up the collection over the years, and got it all in a storage box, safe and sound.
So tell me, how did you go from a hobby to a job?
Well, basically, I was doing off Stradbroke Island, off Brisbane. I was doing some detecting just in the shallow water, and had a tourist couple came over and said they just literally lost the guy lost his ring about 10 minutes before in the water.
Okay.
And they were distraught, crying, and really upset because it was very sentimental to them. Had engraving and everything on it, and so I started looking for the ring for them, and I spent a good hour looking, couldn't find it. They left and gone home, but I still looked, and it was about to get dark, and I thought, I better do one quick sweep underwater one more time before it got dark. And on the way in, I found the ring they had lost.
Wow, that's what I call persistence. After 1 hour, you kept on looking.
Well, I was also looking for other things too, but definitely kept me in the water longer because I knew how much it meant to them. They had left. I wasn't sure I'd ever see them again, but managed to see them as I was driving home at the bus stop. And so I jumped out and gave them back their ring, and they hugged me and they cried. They couldn't believe it. It kind of made their holiday.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, that kind of got the thought going in my mind that, maybe I can do this more often and back in Brisbane and wherever I go. And so, I put a little website together and just basically, see if I could help people find some of their lost rings, wherever it might be.
And what was the initial response to this offer of finding people's rings? Well, did people sort of start to contact you almost immediately, or did you slowly build up your reputation through your successes?
Yeah, well, look, initially I had a couple of call-outs, and, when I found them, I put the testimonials on the website so people could see that I was finding people's lost treasures, and so it went from there and built, and now I'm getting, probably at least a couple of call-outs a week, and fairly high success rate. I mean, it all depends how long ago they lost it and where, but back gardens tend to have, to be honest, 9 out of 10 are male wedding bands. The guys seem to lose them a lot more than the women. So
Tell me the story about the dog. Oh, you must have had a few of these, but there was one particular dog I understand that swallowed some piece of jewellery, and you were asked to locate it.
Yeah, they called me up and said they put their pearl earrings and engagement ring on the coffee table. Literally for about 5 minutes, went to make a coffee or something, came back and the rings were gone. And so they knew the culprits would have been the dogs, the only animals around, and they must have swallowed the earrings and probably saw it bright and shiny and decided to gulp them down. So I had to go over there and run the detector over the dogs to make sure they still weren't in there. They weren't, because obviously the detector can go through 1-2 feet. And so I had to scan the whole of the dog, and unfortunately, they'd already passed it. So then I had to, do the unthinkable and detect the poo. But Interesting.
And you found the thing eventually?
Yeah, I found one pearl earring, and unfortunately, because it had gone through the dog's digestive system, it had eaten the pearl down to almost nothing. It was quite amazing how the acidity had eaten the pearl away. But yeah, got the engagement ring back for them. But the pearl earrings were unfortunately, eaten away.
Would you say this is the strangest job you've had, or there have been more exotic ones?
That's one of the strangest. I've had to, basically, a school had its 50-year anniversary, and they'd advertised they were going to dig up the time capsule for the school. And unfortunately, they couldn't locate it. They completely lost where they had originally buried it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they called me out in desperation because the event was only a couple of days away, and they still couldn't find this time capsule that they were going to unveil at the ceremony. So that was another interesting one. Eventually found it, kind of quite away from where they thought it was initially. But that was an interesting one as well.
Where is this going to take you? It's not an absolute full-time job. You go as required. You see this building up to something that's full-time?
Oh, look, I'd love to do this full-time, and if the word can get out there. I mean, a lot of people have lost their rings and basically didn't know who to call, and they've just come across me by accident. So if my service kind of gets more well-known and people know that it exists, definitely have more call-outs, and definitely make it more full-time, and also sell metal detectors as well now. So it could be something I'd love to do full-time.
Isn't it interesting? What's his name? John Lennon from the Beatles said, life is what happens while you're busy making plans. It seems like there's been sort of a serendipitous occasion for you to go into this business of finding rings and finding lost items. It sounds like it's a fascinating study.
Yeah, well, I really enjoy it, and no one else is really doing it in the Brisbane area anyway. And I'll take call-outs anywhere if it's interstate. And so I mean, it's just a hobby that I've enjoyed, but more importantly now I get the more enjoyment out of getting people back their lost items that they thought they've never recover again.
Oh, look, it's a great story. You've started up your business. You call it Lost Treasures. So if people are listening and they want to pull you from Brisbane to Melbourne to do some research work, you're always available. I think I'll
definitely. Yeah. Please give me a call. I'm always happy to help wherever I can.
Oh, look, I think it's a great story, Justin. I wish you all the success in the future. It's obviously going to be a growing concern, I think. People are becoming more mindless as time goes on. And when men start losing their wedding rings, it's a bit hard to explain. So your services, I'm sure they're much appreciated. Yeah,
I appreciate your time. Thank you. Yes, I'm always here to help.
Well, again, thank you for your time, Justin, and I wish you all the best in your venture.
Thanks,
Bye now.
George. Appreciate it. Thanks.
That was Justin Millman, known as Lord of the Rings, a guy who's built up his business through finding the lost treasures of other people.